Chicago Cubs. News today.
Forget the 12-4 score. Forget Javier Assad's disaster at Dodger Stadium. I want you to picture something with me. The contact the Los Angeles Dodgers generated that Saturday. These weren't towering home runs. They weren't line drives to the outfield. They were ground balls, one after another, finding holes in our infield. That's where our bullpen bleeds. And that's exactly where the return of one specific player can change everything. This pitcher spent 2025 with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Texas Rangers. He finished the season with a 2.79 ERA, a 44.4% ground ball rate above league average, and allowed just 3 home runs all year. 3 in more than 61 innings. He forces contact on the ground. And now, after weeks on the injured list, he's finally rejoined the team in Los Angeles. You need to understand something about bullpen construction. It's not just about having fresh arms. It's about matching. It's about putting the right pitcher in to induce the right type of contact against the right defense. The Chicago Cubs have the best defensive infield in the National League. Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Isaac Paredes, those guys are gold glove caliber. Their range is absurd. They turn ground balls into outs with surgical efficiency. But to take advantage of that, you need pitchers who force hitters to put the ball on the ground. The bullpen was missing 3 key pieces: Daniel Palencia, Caleb Thielbar, and Phil Maton. Javier Assad came in with 2 runners on base. Bases loaded, and then came the contact, but it wasn't the kind of contact our defense thrives on. These were elevated hits, balls with launch angles that work against our defensive scheme. Assad allowed 6 earned runs in 2.1 innings. The Chicago Cubs bullpen situation in April 2026 has been a case study in survival. The unit has a 3.94 ERA on the season, but that doesn't tell the full story. With so many pitchers on the injured list, Craig Counsell has been forced to use arms in roles they weren't built for. Phil Maton isn't just another arm. He posted 1.54 in 2025, placing him among the top 15% of qualified relievers. His strikeout minus walk rate was nearly double the league average, but the number that really matters, just 3 home runs allowed in 61.1 innings. When you generate ground balls at that rate, you take the game out of the hitter's hands and put it into your defense's control. And no team in the league has a better defensive infield than Chicago. I watched that 10-game winning streak. I watched the Cubs win with duct tape and prayers in the bullpen, but I knew, everyone who understands baseball knew, that eventually the Los Angeles Dodgers would exploit it, and that's exactly what happened. The problem isn't talent. The problem is depth. You can't ask Assad to do a closer's job. That's not what he was developed for. You can't expect middle relief arms to carry high leverage innings night after night without eventually hitting the bottom of the barrel. Maton threw a scoreless inning on his rehab assignment with Iowa. 1 inning. But it was enough. The organization saw what it needed to see. The curveball still has that sharp bite. The cutter still has command and velocity. The mechanics are still clean. And here's the part that makes me optimistic. This isn't a 38-year-old veteran trying to squeeze out one more season. Maton is 33. He's right in the prime years for a reliever. The experience is there, the arm is healthy, and he's arriving at a moment when every single inning he can give is valuable. The Cubs bullpen construction for 2026 was aggressive. Only 37.4% of the relief appearances from 2025 came from pitchers still in the organization. Jed Hoyer basically tore the bullpen down and rebuilt it from scratch. Maton received the largest contract among the additions, 2 years and $14.5 million. That wasn't random. He was the premium piece. Hunter Harvey has the highest ceiling, but also comes with an injury history. Jacob Webb is solid but not dominant. Hobie Milner is more of a situational specialist. What Maton brings is reliability. Over the past 5 years, he's logged at least 60 innings every season. That's durability. And durability in a reliever is almost as valuable as dominance. But there's another factor that doesn't show up on Baseball Savant. Maton has playoff experience. He went through it with the Houston Astros. He knows what it means to pitch in October. When you're building a bullpen to compete in the Central and potentially beyond, you want arms that won't freeze under pressure. His mechanics favor ground balls. His cutter has natural arm side movement that forces hitters to get on top of it. His curveball breaks late and induces weak groundouts. It's the perfect profile for a team built around defense. Let's talk about timing, because timing is everything here. The Cubs are sitting at 17-11, tied for first in the Central. The offense is rolling, second best WRC plus in the league, only behind the Dodgers. The starting rotation is holding up, but the bullpen, that's the weak point. And you know what happens in the playoffs? Teams exploit weaknesses like surgeons. Now imagine this. Maton returns. Palencia is back in a few weeks. Thielbar follows shortly after. Suddenly, this isn't a patched-up bullpen anymore. It's depth. It's options. Counsell can do what good managers do. Matchup management, situational usage, putting each arm in the spot where it's most effective. Do you want Maton against Freddie Freeman with a runner on second?
Yes.
Because Maton will induce that weak ground ball to Dansby Swanson. Do you want him in the eighth inning of a tight game? Absolutely. Because he has the experience in the arsenal to execute. The bullpen stops being a question mark and becomes a weapon. And that changes everything about how this team can compete. I've seen this movie before. Shorthanded bullpen, team winning on pure grit, and then that one game, like Saturday against the Dodgers, where everything collapses at once. It's inevitable. You can't escape the math of fatigue. But I've also seen the other side. I've seen teams get a key arm back from the injured list at exactly the right time and use that as a springboard. It's not just about the stats. It's psychological. The clubhouse knows it's not alone. Starters know they can hand the ball to the bullpen in the sixth inning and trust it'll hold. And look, I'm not going to pretend Maton alone fixes everything. He's not Mariano Rivera, but he is the missing piece. He's the arm that allows Counsell to deploy the rest of the bullpen correctly without overloading anyone. Think of it this way. With Maton, you don't need to use Assad in high leverage spots where he doesn't fit. You can keep Assad in long relief, in mop-up duty, in the role where he's effective. Every piece slides back into place, and suddenly the bullpen works like a cohesive system instead of a patched-together Frankenstein. Maton's impact goes beyond individual numbers. His curveball posted a 41.6% whiff rate in 2025, 12th best among pitchers who threw at least 300 curveballs. That's a dominant pitch. That's a pitch that changes at bats. And when you pair that with a cutter that generates weak contact, you get a two-pitch reliever who can handle an entire lineup if needed. He's not a hyper-specialized Luigi. He's someone Counsell can trust in multiple situations. The Cubs still have challenges ahead. They'll face the Milwaukee Brewers, the Cardinals, teams that know Wrigley Field and understand how to attack. But with Maton back, with the bullpen gradually returning to full strength, Chicago has the tools not just to lead the Central, but to be a real problem in October. Phil Maton's return isn't just about adding an arm. It's about restoring the blueprint of what this bullpen was designed to be. It's about having the right pitcher to generate the kind of contact that the best defensive infield in the National League was built to devour. That game against the Dodgers, it was a wake-up call, but it might also be the moment that pushes the organization to tighten the rehab timelines and get everyone available. Because when you're in first place in April, every game matters. Phil Maton is back. And if you understand how bullpens work, if you understand the synergy between pitching and defense, you know this is exactly the kind of addition that can turn a good team into a playoff team. The question now is, how long until we see the real impact? Because in baseball, momentum is everything. And nothing creates momentum like a bullpen that finally works the way it was designed to. If you're a Cubs fan and want to stay on top of every move, every tactical breakdown, and everything happening in Wrigleyville, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because this season is just getting started and it's going to be a fascinating ride.